Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden. Today, the microphone is closer to my face, so I'm probably a little bit louder. Usually, it's been slightly right off camera, but I thought I would do this. Well, welcome in. Today we're going to be trying Remix. We've heard a lot of good things about it. We've got lots of comments about it. We're going to be trying it. So that's the plan for today. First, a few orders of business. A little sexy voice time. First, a few orders of business. I got better sleep last night. I'm feeling better today. I mean, it's unfortunate that my mood and my lack of sleep can affect how I view a thing that we're doing. But I will say that before we jump into Remix, we're going to probably spend 20 minutes doing a few things, not Next.js.com, Next.com, a few things with Nuxt, because I didn't get to demonstrate full stack type safety, and it's really good at that, so I definitely want to show you all that so you don't think everything is horrible. Yeah. First of all, I tweeted a thing, and I would love for you to engage with it and comment on it. So right now on Twitter, I'm not following anyone. I'm 0 following, and I haven't followed anyone. I mean, I haven't. There's no follows. So what I need you to do is engage with this tweet. I need you to comment who on tech Twitter should be my first follow. Who's your favorite tech Twitter person? Other replies that mention someone that you think I should follow, and then also like the tweet itself. Me? I mean, I'm open to it. Just let me know. Pin? Yeah, there we go. So as people come in, well, it'll be there. It'll be there for people to click on and engage with. I think, honestly, Elon Musk, I guess, is a good idea. I know there's a lot of controversy, but, he is Twitter, right? And that one guy from Holland, thank you for that sub, who says, thanks for all the nice content this year. Best wishes and happy holidays to you and the significant other. Thank you, that guy from Holland. And Caligula, thank you for the 15 months. It's Shulman and the Sheboth, both with 5 gifted subs. The Sheboth with 30 months. Arpats yesterday with the Prime. These are all subs from yesterday, but thank you all for the gifted subs and the support. I appreciate you all. I really do. I don't know if I deserve it, but I appreciate that you all support me. Yeah. It's probably not a good idea for Elon to be my first, but regardless. And thank you, Nishark. All right. Welcome in, everyone. If you don't know what we're doing, this is a multi-part series that started this past Saturday, and we are trying multiple full-stack frameworks. Now, there's a lot of other full-stack frameworks that aren't in this list, but we are specifically looking at full-stack frameworks that, for one, are stable. They have a stable release. They're not in beta or alpha or experimental or anything like that. And then also, we're looking at full-stack frameworks that support some kind of hybrid rendering or basically the framework makes the best choice as to how to render your website, whether it's server-side rendered or a single-page application or statically generated or whatever else. All of these frameworks make the best decision for you in terms of what it should do with the code that you've written. And also, you can configure it and add adapters and stuff like that. But that's really the main criteria for what we're choosing here. And then the way we're evaluating them is not actually... It actually has a lot less to do with the framework itself and more so to do with the ecosystem. Because when we're building apps, that's usually not... It's a lot of the work that we're doing is... interfacing and integrating with third-party libraries. So these are the things that we are judging this framework on. First of all, how is the project set up? Second of all, how easy is it to get my preferred linting and formatting config up and going? How easy is it to add Tailwind? How easy is it to set up a component library? How easy is it to get social auth with Google working? and then how is the support for full stack type safety, and then also does it integrate well with Prisma? Pretty much every single one of these integrates well with Prisma. So we've already chosen Prisma as our database library that we're ORM that we're going to be using. But as we go, these are the things that we are analyzing. We're also looking like, are the docs good? Are there good community examples? That kind of thing. Because each one of these backend frameworks does have opinions on like folder structure, and then each one is potentially using a different front-end framework like Svelte or Vue or React. But as I get older and based on all the apps that I've written in the past, I just don't care anymore. Like Vue versus React, I don't care. I care more about the ecosystem, the community of packages, that kind of thing. What I think about that channel, listen, you're giving them free advertising. If I click on that, I'm giving them free advertising. So who are they? Oh, they're great. That's Honeypot. Yeah, yeah. Netflix for developers. Yeah, they did a Vue documentary. Is the React documentary out yet? Only the trailer is out. Yeah, they're cool. They do a really good job of like telling stories, and I think that's what you mean by being the Netflix for developers. The documentary they did on Vue.js was really cool. They've done some like developer highlights. I like this channel. I'm subscribed to that channel. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, BJ Sebastian. I mean, I've been fairly agnostic not in a way, sorry. Like I know that I can be productive pretty much anywhere I go as long as I spend some time like learning the stuff. Yeah, so if you have to ask why your message was deleted, it's probably because you're new here. So definitely go check out the frequently asked questions. Definitely, whenever you clicked on the chat box here, it had a link to our code of conduct. So if a mod thinks you weren't following the code of conduct, or maybe you asked something that wasn't on topic, or maybe you said something mean, that's probably why your message got deleted. But also, asking why your message got deleted is not that good. Maybe you're new to Twitch. But I'm going to delete your message. So we'll pretend that you didn't ask why your message got deleted. I see. Yeah, that doesn't deserve a deletion. That just deserves a straight up ban. Like, appreciate you, but you can't advertise for other things in my chat. That's what you've done, and why they deleted the message. We do have a Discord, and we have a channel specifically titled Self Promo, so you can do that there. But I don't know. I shouldn't have even given them any attention. Let's keep going. What were we talking about? Yeah, Honeypot. It's a cool channel. Check it out. Yeah, peace and love. Just peace and love. Peace and love. Welcome in, 0x Waleed. I appreciate you. Thanks for being new here. Thanks for saying hi in the chat. So yesterday, we were working with Next, and we stopped at the social auth portion. We eventually got it working, but some things came up, and I had to end the stream. I didn't get to show full stack type safety and doing like Prisma with it, so I do want to show that today. But after that, we're going to start with Remix. So remix.run is all about Remix. When I initially saw Remix when it came out a while back, I saw it and I was like, is it really that different than React? Why should I even, than Next.js? Should I really even try it if it's really just so similar to Next.js? And the answer is actually, like, it does a lot of things different, and a lot of people recommend it. So this will be interesting to try because there actually has been a lot of hype around Remix. So it'll be a good time figuring all of that out. Like I said, we're going to try Next first. Remix is React. Remix is React. It's not Vue. Specifically, Next is the Vue version of Next.js. And really, I mean, Next.js was I think the first out of all of these. So all of these really are their own take on doing the same things that Next.js does. Oh, no worries, Rocket Turner. No worries. But I mean, it is a statement to be made because all of these are some variation of what Next.js originally did. We're just going to use Node. I think the fact that we can deploy it agnostically is pretty cool because we could deploy it to like Deno deploy and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, like if you saw the Nux stream yesterday, everything was actually super seamless until we got to the auth portion. And that was really unfortunate. And that's really, honestly, like this is probably the biggest piece for what we're evaluating is the auth portion, because the app we're going to be building is going to be based off of YouTube. And so we need access to the YouTube API. So we need people's Google login. And if there isn't like a heavily supported, battle tested auth library for a given framework, then that kind of, that's an issue, you know, that's an issue. But yeah, so for those of you that are seeing that the VOD isn't on here on Twitch, it'll be on YouTube tonight. Why are we making the database integration on the front end? We're not. And that's what potentially can be confusing if you have not worked with frameworks like these. So it may seem like we're talking to the database from a Vue app or from a Svelte app or from a React app. And that is not the case, because we're writing code in a way where that database code actually runs on the back end, and then the framework will render our app, and then the rendered app will actually have the database data embedded in the initial render. And then you can also write things in a way where if you're navigating between pages, that actually makes API requests for the data. We actually have not delved into what these frameworks are really doing for us, because it's kind of amazing. But yeah, if you've only learned like the basics of React or the basics of Vue, or you've only ever been exposed to like front end frameworks on the front end, this is a whole new world. Yeah, I don't know about this. I mean, I'm not super in tune with how everything is going over there at Next.js. However, Next.js is from the same people that bring you Versal. And so it is very fine-tuned to be deployed to Versal and not necessarily to other places. I don't know what their roadmap is and if they plan to support like Deno deploy or anything like that, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, and we've talked about this over the past couple of days. Like it's like we went from fully server-side rendered to like fully client rendered. And now it's hybrid. Now it's like a little bit of both. But let's welcome everybody in. Let's say hello, and then I'll show you full stack type safety with Next.js. Yeah. Timon says, I don't like using a full stack framework. I like it when a framework has a specific thing where it's really good at and doesn't have all the things included. But badly. Yeah, and I guess that's the tricky part. I mean, really, that's the whole point of us doing this evaluation is like, yeah, it does a lot of stuff for us. So like, we want to see. I guess I don't know. No, none of these use WASM that I know of. There are probably frameworks out there that do, but none. I don't think any of these do. Yeah, the web dev pendulum, all back end, all front end. Right now, we're somewhere in the middle of that pendulum swing. Okay, let's say hello to everybody. If you want me to say hello to you, to acknowledge you, you can say hi, hello, hey, yo, cheers, greetings, hi, what's up, morning, afternoon, evening, howdy, good day. Good day, coding Ohio of Ohio or Boga hey. Say any one of these things. I'll notice you. I'll say hello, and then we'll start writing some code. So, SQL Gordster, the first to say hello 42 minutes ago. Welcome in, SQL Gordster. Glad to have you. What's up, Mark and Electrothermal? Hello. What's up, Clicky Poo and Shark Turnip and Vato de Harina and GP Code Pro and Shalman and Pablo and Vulturebike and Emil Sherrier and Limotes and Morpheus and Moshiko and Bacon Partner and the Shibas and NBC Ubuntu and Nishark and Carabel and Poplip and Joseph and Oscar and Sindead Horse and Cave, Karimi, what's up, Wilm, and that guy from Holland. Thanks again for the 7-month resub. What's up? This noob got insane skill. I'm new to coding. Got any advice? Yeah, check out my my playlist over on YouTube. It's called Learning Starts Here. So if you click on that playlist, the first video talks about what I think your first programming language should be. The second video gives you a bunch of resources for learning to code for free online. So definitely check that out. What's up, Harasuna and Veeb and TJ Mr. P and William Cameron. Hello, Jan Kurvik and Mikey Man and Nesby and Jeff Valencia. What's up, Plat Not Pratt and Leak Geek and BJ Sebastian and Dineshawn and Age Monkey and Ben Hatches. Hello, Baby Knight and BTRSL and Saint Adriano. Welcome in, everyone. Very glad to have you. I mean, you could probably tell I'm feeling better today. I'm just in a better mood than I was in yesterday. But let's start writing some code. And Crafty Becky, hello, welcome in. Let's start writing some code. So I'm gonna show you this Next example, and I'm gonna demonstrate some full stack type safety. So yesterday, what is happening here? Okay, just gotta go slow. We set up our linter config to use Airbnb and Prettier. Everything was good to go there. We talked about how you have this main app entry point, and then oh goodness, what did I just do? We'll get there. Deep breaths, everyone. Everything's gonna be okay. We talked about how app.view is like your entry point, and then they have a bunch of these magic variables like layout and page, and this is basically like the entry point, and then you can define what you want your layout to be. So we have a layout that has like a nav bar, and then like a main content area, and then in the pages folder you can define your pages. Right now we just have one home page that says hello world, and then in the server folder you can define like API routes and things like that. And so right now we actually are using this Next auth handler, which wraps Next.js auth to create our auth handler. And it's in the server folder, so this actually will only ever run as server-side code. And you could think of this is all the magic that sets up the redirect for OAuth login, the callback handler. It creates sessions when a user logs in with OAuth, all of that good stuff. All of that is handled in that one file there. But as you can see, we didn't have to write a lot of code to do that, which is nice. We did work for a while to figure out how to get it working because the library is fairly new, but we did get it working. So let's show an example. We're going to run this, and we get ourselves a Next app that breaks. Oh, it's because I'm trying to load the app before it was ready. Or not. What happened? Okay. just to be safe, I'm going to do an npm install right here, a clean install. Because I did move the folder, I changed the folder name, and this could have broken something when I did that. So let that install. We'll start it back up, and we'll wait for it to be ready. Yeah, Remix seems pretty cool. I'm excited to try it today. Prisma client did not initialize yet. Okay, that seems fine too. We'll gotta do this. Install dependencies. Reminds me in Gates demoed Windows and a blue screen of death on stage. The thing is, we do a lot of things live here, so things break all the time. I'm not surprised that things are breaking. Like I said, I move the folders around, and then usually when you move folders around, that actually messes up node modules. And I think that's the issue that we're running into, so I just had to fix that. There we go, no errors. Now if I go to localhost 3000, we have ourselves a Next app. Can you stream with a Mac, or do you need an Elgato? No, you can stream with a single MacBook computer. The only issue is doing all of the stream transcoding and running OBS or whatever software you use to stream can use a lot of resources. So if you're running that and you're trying to play games at the same time, or you're trying to write code at the same time, you could run into issues, which is why I use two separate computers. If you look at the gear page, I talk about my gear, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, I talk about my layout here. You could do it with one computer. I do it with 2. Yeah, and the VOD will be on YouTube tonight. I have to combine because yesterday the stream went down, so I have to combine them into one video and then I'll put it on YouTube. All right, we're technically logged in right now, and we actually don't have a logout route. Let's create a little logout button really quick. So right now what we have is if we have the user object, which means we're logged in, we're showing like this little avatar. I think what we'll also do is we will show a button next to that allows us to log out. We need to import the signout function from this use session. So use session is provided for us by the Next.auth library. And why is this complaining? I'm doing something weird with vif. I guess I can put that button in there, but that doesn't need to be in the avatar. 2 v-else conditions? But this is the root div. What if I just do, what if there is no data? Instead of a v-else, what if I do that? Will that fix the error? No. V-else if? V-else is wrapped inside the v if they need to be siblings. No. Oh, okay. It's just that. Okay, because I copy pasted. All right. We're getting warmed up. We're just getting warmed up. I copy pasted and I didn't remove the v-else. Great. This is all I wanted. I just want a logout button. That's all I want. And then right now I don't need to pass in any options because it'll just sign out. Which essentially just like clears the cookies and stuff. All right. Refresh the page. Click logout. Great. We are now logged out. We're using Next first because I want to show full stack type safety. So if I do login, this should redirect us to Google. I can choose the account I want to log into. We get redirected back. And we're now logged in. I'm not even going to worry about the layout issues because we could fix this. Also, the image is broken. I'm not going to worry about that. What I want to show you now is how to create some API routes and then use those inside of our pages. So if we look in the Next docs, let's look at maybe it's data fetching. Yeah, so this does a fetch to the API routes here. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to create an API route called users. So probably wouldn't do this in the real world, but this is just going to be an API route that returns all the an array of all the users in our database. So in order to do that, let's go into the guide. Let's look at how do we do server stuff. Here we go. We have this define event handler. So one of the things about Next is you either love it or you hate it, but basically you do not have to import things all over the place. So you'll notice I'm in this file. Define event handler is just available to me. And that it gets automatically imported for you, and you get automatic TypeScript type completion and all of that stuff, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, and H3 is like a secondary library. Not secondary. It's a library that's like it does agnostic API routes, so that they can be deployed as like. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. So if you look at their documentation, you'll find out. Maybe this isn't it. I should find the link in their docs here. unjs/h3. Okay, this is it. This is it. But that's it. That's it. That's the one. But what that means is this could be deployed to a serverless in a serverless environment, or as an edge function, or in a Node.js environment. Great. All right. So define event handler provided to us by the framework. Now we return some stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this users object here. And I'm just going to pull that in from the database. So we're going to import our Prisma client from our DB dependency. And then right here, I'm just going to await a call to the database. We'll make this async, and then I'll just await Prisma client.user.find many. So this is going to get every user in the database, return that as an array of users. So now that I have that endpoint, if I go to localhost 3000 API/users, we get back an array that has all of the users in the database. Awesome. So that's an API route. But now check this out. If I want to call that API route from the home page, first of all, we need a script. I'll give it a lang of TypeScript. And then this setup thing is new in Vue 3 that basically allows you to do a bunch of stuff at the top level instead of needing like an options object and stuff like that. But let's do this. We'll have users, and this is going to be await fetch. Are you ready? It should give me type completion. Maybe it's $fetch or fetch $. $fetch. That's okay. We'll get it. $fetch, and now automatic full stack type safety. So this tells me what routes are available, right? So if you've ever used TRPC, you know that this will look very familiar because you set up your handlers in TRPC, and then whenever you're using the TRPC client, it knows what the handler names are, but I'm literally getting type completion for URL paths. And Ched, thank you very much for the resub. So here I can do this, and then now check this out too. The types flow through. So, and actually I think this will be called data. Result, this is a whole thing. It's like a wrapper. Yeah, and then result.users is strongly typed here. So actually, like, let's pull off the users object like this. Yeah, and actually, I'm getting a linter error, but what I actually will be able to do, can I control click on fetch? I mean command click? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to go to definition? Okay, yeah, I need to look at the docs. But first of all, if you aren't freaking out about how cool this is, I don't know where you've been, because look at this. Like, I don't have to remember what the API routes are. It automatically generates all the types and everything for every API route that I define in that folder, which is pretty cool. All right, let's do it the right way. Use fetch is what I would need because I'm inside of a component. Please don't load a code sandbox. Man. Okay, I guess we'll look at the code sandbox. Data. Use fetch. We do this. Am I not getting the type completion there? Yeah, I actually don't get the type completion, but the types do. I don't get the type completion for the path there, but the types do flow through. Because if I look at the value, it has a users. Do I need to? Oh, I do need to await it. Data.value.users is an array of users. If I were to do like a for each on it, user is fully typed here. No, it says it's an any? Come on. I guess this is why I don't want to do use fetch. I actually do want $fetch, because $fetch is the fully typed one. This is fine. Now, in my UI, let's create a little list of the users. I'm pretty sure we're going to get types. Give me a moment. I want Sure, we'll create a menu that has usernames, something like this. I don't know, it doesn't look safe to me. It's gonna be so safe, watch it. Okay, so I want to repeat this list item for every user. And I should be able to use a v4, and I should get type completion in here. So v4 user in data dot users. Why is this complaining? I need a key. This is going to be user.id. That is the any type 2. User dot, I'm not getting any type completion. What have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? I'm not looking at the chat much, so maybe somebody said what I was doing wrong. Does Nux have an equivalent of get server-side props or remix loader? Probably, but not exactly. We can look in their guide. Show the API route. Here it is. And this find many, I mean, check it out. I can put it in a variable. You'll see that this gets the type from Prisma, like this. And users is an array of user. Yeah, I've been wearing a beanie lately. I cut my hair a little bit ago. So there's that. I mean, technically data could be extracted to grab users, and then here we could say users. But it is the any type. Let's look at the docs for $fetch. What am I doing wrong? During server-side rendering, calling $fetch to fetch your internal API routes will directly call the relevant function. So that's the interesting thing about $fetch here. I mean, really, I think I just want it to be data. I really do. And then variable await implicitly has an anytime. What is happening? What is happening? Oh, because I have an extra curly brace. Well, we're getting. So here's the thing. This is gonna work. Like I don't need TypeScript for this to work. I just want to show you the types flowing through. API users. So users have a name property. So if I just do user.name right here, this actually should just work. Or not. I need to put this in a VIF because data.users may not exist. What? So, did I leak it? Your source code? Yeah, please don't joke too much, Oscar, because yesterday was very stressful. All right, we're getting some errors. What is this saying? Cannot read properties undefined of users. Great. The thing is, this is a ref. So data... Really? Oh, okay. Now it's just users? What happened? Earlier it was data. I feel like maybe the types weren't updating correctly. Is there a data property on here? I don't know why it let me destructure data. I guess it did, but then it gave it the any type. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start over so that I can show you that it actually is easy. Okay, we're going to start with nothing. I'm even going to delete this, and I'm going to show you, if I knew what I was doing, how easy this would be. Okay, so I need I need a function, define event handler, right? You pass in a little function here. Whatever this thing returns will be the response of the API function. Make this an async function. Let's do some database lookup. So I need to import my Prisma client from DB. And then I can grab my users array, which is just going to be Prisma client.user.find many. Great. So we have the users. Now, if I return an object that has that users property on it, this is an API route which will return an array of users. Well, it returns an object that has a property users, like that. Great. Now, if I want to use this in the front end, I can use $fetch, which is just built in, to grab users from type completion, API users. Great. And now I can show you in the UI here that we actually do get type completion here as well. So I want to repeat this list item for every user in users. We'll give it a key of user dot ID. And then in here, we'll have user dot name. I'm going to blame it on my old computer. It's the fact that I have a 7-year-old computer that this is not giving us type completion. But missing away. You're totally right. I swear I can program. I swear I can do it. Okay. List item. Here we go. For every user in users, here we go. Type completion. Here it comes. User dot. There it is. There's the type completion. User.id. Oof. Okay. And now when we're in the handlebars, we should get type completion as well. User.name. Man. The start of today's stream is going swimmingly. Yeah, I'm probably going to get the M1. If I get another computer, I know I said I was going to get a Linux-based machine, but I'm probably going to get the was it the 2020 MacBook Pro? Okay, yeah. So if you know what you're doing, you get type completion on the API route. So imagine this. You create a bunch of other API routes here. You're going to get type completion for them when you're doing the $fetch. The types flow through, right? So I didn't have to import an interface or anything like that. Whatever type was returned here flows through to the front end, and then I can use those types inside of my template as well. Now, you may be wondering, where is this code running? And I do believe that $fetch is smart enough to whenever it is running, whenever this is getting server-side rendered, this actually happens on the server. But if this was like a single-page application page load to get here, it actually runs this on the client. So we're just going to log loaded users and then pass in users here. And then when I refresh this page, we actually see the log on the server side. So if you see logs in the console here, that means that that code was running on the server side. And if I look in the console, we might see it here too. Yeah, we see it here because it gets passed through. But if we look at the network tab and we look at like XHR, it's making the request there as well. Why? Yeah, I think it's just doing it just to be safe, but because look at this. If I just do a straight up curl of this page, it actually has the user embedded inside of it right here. So this, my friends, is what we mean by server-side rendering, right? Like no JavaScript is running and that data is embedded, which means that API request happened on the server side and then it's just returning it to the client. I think for whatever reason, it's running it on the front end and the back end, maybe just to be safe. There's probably a way to tell it to only run on the back end, but in this case, I actually don't care if this runs on the front end or the back end because this code right here will only ever run on the back end. This code could run in two different places, but the way it works will be different depending on where it runs. So when this code runs on the back end, it actually is just within the JavaScript environment, so it can actually just invoke this function and get the return value. When this is running on the client, this will make an HTTP request to get that data. So that's the magic of this $fetch variable. All right, I think I'm done talking about Next. Maybe I'm warmed up. Maybe I won't make as many mistakes in, Nuxt. Did I say Next? Yeah, so our code is a single page application. Like, I don't have any other pages yet. Let's try to create one. Let's just do like about.view just to show what will happen here. We'll have like an h2. This is the about page. And then in the nav bar, I'll have a link to, into the home page and the nav page. So actually, I can use the globally available Next link, and that will, I think, does it have a to property? Yeah, so go to the index page, and we'll just call this home. And then if I create another link that goes to about, we'll call this about, like this. Put that there. Put some spaces on it. It doesn't look good. Maybe I should put this into a button. Will that work? Okay, I'll try that next, TGR. I'll try that next. Okay, so if I go to the About page, great. Let's look at the Network tab. What happens when I go to the home page? It requests the user's route. So you'll notice that this is now behaving as a single page application. This was not a full request for the index page. It literally just took me back here and then only requested the data that it needed, in this case, which was the users array. And then if I go to the About page, no code has to load at all, or like no requests happen at all, because the code for the About page is already on the front end. So this is what we're talking about when we say hybrid. So what I showed when I did this curl was the initial data load that's received by the client has the data embedded inside of it. This is known as hydration. Data is embedded inside of it. It has everything it needs for that initial page load here. But then as I navigate the website, so if I go to About, I guess technically About was loaded in the main load here, but I can navigate between these. The only request that's happening is for the data that I have. But let's try doing what happened over here. So yeah, this is magic, and this is what all of these frameworks are doing, which is really nice. Can you disable a page's client-side rendering? Yeah. So I do believe there's a way to say that only ever server-side render a page. There's probably a way. I actually don't know how to do it. But so like in SvelteKit, there's a way of specifying your options to say like server-side render true, and then you can make it so that it never client-side renders. But let's see what happens if we try writing the code like was mentioned here. So use fetch is another just built-in thing. Okay, so this does get type completion. It's curious to me why their example passed a function in, but if we don't pass a function in, we get type completion, which is nice. And then this gives us a data variable. Do we also get like loading or anything like that? Let's see. And then the value.users. So then our UI would need to update to be data.users. And data is possibly null, so only show this list if data exists. And actually, this is super interesting. Like if you've worked in Vue, you might be accustomed to doing things, depending on if you've used like the Volar extension or anything like that. But you might be accustomed to, right now, if I change the code to be like this, my script down here is complaining because it says data is declared but never read. But then when I actually use it in the template, you can see that error goes away here. So these two are linked together, like it knows if a variable is referenced in the template that was defined in the script. Okay, let's see. So now that I define this as a use fetch, let's see where this console log runs. Over here. Just gonna restart the app. Yeah, so the console logs over here. It technically is making a request to users on the front end too. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to grab data from a third API, you could actually still use this $fetch or this use fetch, but it's smart enough to know that like if this request starts with like HTTPS, that it's an external request, and then that it doesn't do internal stuff. But what you also could do is you could have an API route that like you could put your request to the third-party API inside of an API route handler here, so that way you're definitely not leaking API keys or anything like that. Yeah. It is fetching client side, so we're seeing the XHR happen here. So like every time we go to that page, it's doing the GET request to users. There's probably a way to disable that. I don't know. I'm not going to dig too much further into it. All I really wanted to show you was, first of all, how easy it is to define API routes, and then second of all, how easy it is to call those API routes from the front end. And you get type completion in your little fetch here, all that good stuff. All right, we're going to leave the Next.js world, and now we're going to jump into Remix. That is cool though. So yeah, like Nuxt has a lot going for it. I think our major pain point with it is the authentication and authorization story. So specifically with we want to have full stack type safety in what we're doing. So if Remix doesn't support it out of the box, then we probably will try to get it set up with TRPC. That's the plan. I know nothing about Remix. I've never generated an app with it. I've only scrolled the docs. I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. So we're going into this. You're here with me. You're here with me to do the thing. We're going to experience this together. Here we go. Remix, focused on web standards and modern web UX. You're simply going to build better websites. Let's get started. We're here. They probably want me to read all of this, but I'm not going to. Okay, the template is the Indie Stack blog tutorial. Okay, I will read the docs because I want to know what stacks are available to me and what stack should I start with. Remix stacks is a feature of the CLI that allows you to generate a Remix project quickly and easily. There are several built-in and official stacks that are full-blown applications. You can also make your own. The built-in official stacks come ready with common things you need for production application, including database, automatic deployment, authentication, testing, linting. I'm just making big, like, wow. None of the other frameworks that we've used come with anything like this. All right. The blue stack is deployed to the edge with a long-running node server and Postgres database intended for large and fast production-grade applications serving millions of users. The Indie stack, there's a prediction? What are we predicting? Oh, no, I don't want to dismiss it. End it, like cancel it. I appreciate the mods coming up with predictions, but there's too many variables, right? Because I don't even know what we're doing here that I can be like set up in. I don't know. It's not a good prediction is all I'm saying, because I still have to figure out which one of these are we going to use, and then I mean I have no doubt that this will generate the app in like a minute, but after that then we have to learn a bit more about it. So okay, and I'm not mad at the mods. I'm just saying. I don't think it's a fair prediction because I don't even know what I'm doing yet. All right, the Indie stack, deployed to a long-running node server with a persistent SQLite database. This stack is great for websites with dynamic data that you control. blogs, marketing, content sites. It's also a perfect low-complexity bootstrap for MVPs, prototypes, and proof of concepts that can later be updated to the Blues stack. Okay, the indie stack sounds fine. We're not doing like a content or site or a blog site. We are going to be building something that is much more dynamic, but it seems like it can handle, if it has a database, it seems like it can handle that. The grunge stack, deployed to a serverless function running Node with DynamoDB for persistence, intended for folks who want to deploy a production-grade application on AWS infrastructure serving millions of users. All right, we're going to go with the indie stack, especially because that's what they tell us to do like in the initial part of the tutorial. So, seems fine. Seems fine. Here we go. Yeah, I think I want the indie stack. We'll see. I mean, I have no idea what it's going to do. A lot of trolls out today. That's really weird. Where would you like to create your app? Yeah, so we're going to create this in Remix example. We're going to use TypeScript. Yeah, you can run npm install. Awesome. So yeah, it didn't ask us for like ESLint or anything like that. We'll see what it does. We might have to just create our own. I think I'm getting... people tend to say that they click my recommendation on the Twitch front page. Not that I'm on the front page, but I am show up in their recommendations. Yeah, but what's up, Vigorj? We're on day 3 of this. So we did SvelteKit on Saturday, we did Nuxt yesterday, and today we're doing Remix. So, also I keep doing this to look around my microphone, so I might have to do something like this. If I don't pass template, I get more options with the CLI. I'm honestly interested in that. Let's do it separately. That's a good point, Killer. I like that. My blue screen mic. So I was using this before. It's invisible, but it's it goes on my microphone. It makes more sense to talk directly into a microphone like this instead of having it off to the side. Remix example.
Coding
I guess we'll call this Bear.
1000 Coding Cheer 500 just wanted to say happy holidays. I'm going to be busy these next few days. Catch you next time.
Thank you very much, Murdoch.
Coding hard.
You're too kind. Happy holidays to you. Thank you for the bits. Okay, what type of app do I want to create? A pre-configured stack ready for production. Just the basics. Where do you want to deploy? Choose Remix App Server if you're unsure. It's easy to change deployment targets. We'll deploy to Versal. It's the thing that I'm... Oh, we could deploy... Let's deploy to Dino deploy. We'll use TypeScript. Run npm install. Okay, so this is going to be a much more basic app. This one here is the one that used the indie stack. It's using Prisma automatically. That's pretty cool. Wow. Okay. Let's look at the indie stack one first. The indie stack already has Auth and Prisma. Wow. Okay, first of all, pretty overwhelming, right? A lot of stuff in here. But that said, it's doing a lot for us, right? It has deployment targets set up. It has a Docker file ready to go. It has Auth. It has a database. I mean, this is really impressive, right? Of all the things we've used, this is doing the most for us, right? And it makes a lot of sense. Like the way that their docs are talking, it's like, you want to build an app, you need all of these things. So it's ready to be deployed on fly.io. Yeah, so it has that fly.toml. You're saying it's like Ruby on Rails? Maybe. Yeah, well, I guess we'll get into it. So yeah, just at a top level, there's a lot in here. We have our Prisma folder. We have our schema that has users. In all my years, I have never stored a password hash in a separate table. Why would you do that? Okay, and then notes.
Don't really get to see the live stream often, but just wanted to say I really enjoyed your latest coding improv video and the way it was edited.
Thank you, Curious Yeti. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for the $10. You're too kind. You're too kind. And that is just a shout out to my more recent video. I guess that's a good point, Mihai Andre. So when you select users, so instead of having to do this is the video that they were talking about, but thank you very much, Curious Eddie. Appreciate that. That makes sense that you wouldn't query, but typically you just have different DTOs, data transfer objects, like different interfaces that only that only have the properties that you expect in them. So yeah, it's just interesting. I've never seen it before. But that is a good point that I guess by default now you can query users and there are no passwords in there. Or you can basically not do the join against the password table. I guess that's another point is you keep track of old passwords in a separate table so they can't be reused. I have done that before, but I still had the password itself on the user table. But this setup would allow you to do that as well. Cool. 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 Yeah, it's just this. Honestly, this like I'm learning something new, right? This is like a new architecture and database design that I haven't used before. That seems like it would be good. So that's awesome. All right, we've got mocks, a mock server. That's cool. End-to-end tests. So it didn't even ask me if I wanted end-to-end tests or like unit tests. You just get them. And then there's an app folder with all of the stuff. You have entry points, routes, models. My goodness. Cool. Okay. I am going to continue following the tutorial, so because they're probably going to walk me through that stack. But I also want to see what it looks like to get generated as a completely bare one that I didn't choose the indie stack for. So here in remix example bare, let's see what we get here. It's a whole lot less busy, right? We've got our server entry point. This is for deploying to dino.dev, dino deploy. We've got our remix config. Got an app folder with a root and then just one route. Cool. So the thing is, I want authentication. I need a database. So I'm going to go with the indie stack, but it is interesting to see what you get without all of that extra stuff. What you missed is all of this file. look at everything we get with Remix. All right, let's dive back into the docs. And honestly, this being there's so much here, I have to spend time in the docs. Like I could just like jump in and try to figure out what things are by looking around the code base, but I'm probably going to have the best time if I follow their tutorial and do what they tell me to do. I mean, this is the most impressive thing we've seen, right? Because it does seem the most production ready. Like if you've worked in any app in the real world and you have users, eventually it ends up looking like this. Eventually you have like end-to-end testing set up and Docker files and everything else. And Phonetic, thank you very much for the sub. Setup 10 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's go ahead and rate it. Project generation, I mean, this goes all the way to 11. I'm going to give it 11, the rare 11 out of 10. But what that means is we have to commit here. We have to learn about this stuff before we can move any further. Okay, so that's cool. I'm going to look at their tutorial and then once we get to a certain point, I'm going to take a step back and try to get linting set up because it doesn't look like we got a linter file. Oh, no, we did. It didn't ask me about it, though. Yeah, so we have a base linter file that's using Prettier. What I'll try to do is try to get the Airbnb config in there. I don't know. Maybe I don't need the Airbnb config anymore. No, it's like nothing except the Vue ecosystem uses the Airbnb config anymore. Yeah. Okay. let's look at their tutorial. So we're using the Indy stack, full application ready to deploy fly.io. Great. Let's run npm run dev. And I'm just gonna remove this, the one that has nothing in it. It's just interesting to see what you get if you don't do the Indy stack. Here we go. Yeah, I think we have it. Well, it has a Cypress plugin. Remix run ESLint config. Yeah, it's got all of it. I have not heard of. Is Oxygen a dev framework, or is Oxygen? Are you talking about what we need to live and breathe? My opinion, good. 10 out of 10. Like, if we didn't have it, we probably would die. So. But welcome in, first timers. I'm being a little tongue in cheek. I appreciate you being here though. Oxygen is pretty pog. Is it like Oxygen.js? Oxygen dev? I don't know what you're referencing. I really don't. Okay. If you want to take a minute and is Remix another full stack, or sorry, is Oxygen a full stack framework? I mean, oh, I need to stop getting distracted. Here we go. We did npm run dev. Let's poke around the UI. Sign up. Cool. View the notes. Add a new note. Wow. Setup was pretty cool. Save that note. All right. All of this is in the database, and I don't know if they provide something already, but actually, if we actually do npx Prisma Studio, because it's using Prisma, we should get Prisma Studio, and we can actually look through and see who are our users. Rachel's in our database. I don't know who Rachel is, but hello, Rachel. And also, we have hashed passwords in our database. And we have notes. Nice. So that's cool. Cool. So honestly, yes. Honestly, if the chemical, yeah. Oxygen, 10 out of 10. Though the thing is, like, humans can't have pure oxygen, right? I guess we can, but we get so when we're in the hospital, we typically get fed pure oxygen because our oxygen intake is lower than it should be. So, yeah, we don't want pure oxygen. So I give it the percentage of oxygen in the atmosphere. 20%? Do I have to read a book to learn the answer? You know what I can do? I can ask ChatGPT. How much oxygen is in the air? Wow. Okay, so yeah, oxygen actually gets a 2 out of 10 on the scale, but it's still pretty good. All right, but yeah, to the point that Mito made. Oh no, was it Mito? Someone was like, we're done. yeah, Mito. Yeah, it was Mito that said it. So the project's over. Honestly, this is what we were going to build eventually if we got everything figured out. Was just like, we have users that can log in. We have items that they can create, read, update, and delete. So it kind of just comes pre-configured with everything that we need. But we're going to create a new route now. So we're going to make a new route to render posts. Before we do that, let's link to it. Add a link to posts in the index page. The other thing is it's already set up with Tailwind. Ten out of 10. Is it? Okay, let's start to just explore what we have here, right? So, we were just in the notes section of the app, and then when we created a new note, it was this page here. Yeah. I'm thinking this, like, ChatGPT definitely has a staff of people that are reviewing the answers that it gives out. So I think it's like slightly human aided as well. Like, for the most part, it generates good stuffs, but I think there are humans on standby that filter it or help it out if it doesn't know what to do. Now you get to focus only on the problem domain. Yeah, and I think that's my whole point, I think, with this entire series is I just want to build an app. I don't care about all this other stuff or configuring all this other stuff. Yeah. Okay, so this is already using Tailwind. It's not using Daisy UI or anything like that, so I might want to set that up. But we need to go into app routes, and it wants us to create a post. Add a link to posts in app routes index. So if I go to app routes index, this is the home page with all the stuff. And it wants us to put this where? Below the hero image. So, is that this image? No, that's remix. So below this div. Okay. Before I move any further, I'm going to set up ESLint the way that I want it, because I just ran ESLint fix all auto-fixable problems, and it did not fix this. This should be throwing a linter error. I think what it wants me to do is it wants me to run prettier. So if I do format document with prettier, that will fix it. But I want to see little red squigglies that tell me that I need to format the document. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think this is another thing. So yeah, I'm being like super positive right now. I'm like amazed by everything. But yeah, that is a thing to think about. You're technically locked into the Remix framework. I mean, anytime you choose the framework, you're locked into it though for the app that you're building. You obviously get to pick and choose what you want to use for like Auth or the database or whatever else. But I think the JavaScript ecosystem is just moving towards like standardized tools for all of this stuff, right? Like, Next.js is going to be this like one of these standards. Prisma has basically become the standard for databases. So, yeah. All right, let's set up our linter because I want to see red squigglies when I have bad formatting like this. So, we're going to pause the tutorial and we're going to see how long it takes me to get Airbnb ESLint config set up. Now, we already have an ESLint config. What I'm thinking is all we need to add is the Airbnb TypeScript extension, and probably the prettier ESLint plugin. I think we'll give this a similar treatment as we did Nux. Can I do this in less than 10 minutes? So let's do a prediction. Also, how is my tweet doing? $24 likes. Nice. Okay. I have not done twin.macro and styled components. No, I haven't. Okay. Welcome in, Chemical Trail. Feel free to ask the question. I don't know if I'll be able to answer it, but maybe somebody in the chat can answer it. Wait, what are you saying, Drills? Cheat sheet in GPT thread? Are you saying there's a remix cheat sheet? Okay, regardless, let's do a prediction. Previous predictions. Oh, it was this one. Working ESLint in Airbnb config in under 10 minutes. Here we go. You've got a minute, not less than a minute to predict. Predict now if you're going to predict. Have I thought about NX to build a full stack project? The app that we're going to be building is I don't think we're going to have any separate packages or anything. I don't think we're going to have a reason to have a mono repo. Right now we have a mono repo because I wanted to share my database client library between I'm going to reject this and then give you longer because I feel like there are more people that want to predict. Delete and return points. Two minutes. Here we go. I am not making a theme. No, I am working on an app. This app. I mean, I didn't build this app. This was auto-generated for me. Though the link to the posts page didn't show up. Did I save the file? I saved the file. Is the app still running? Where is it? Is it behind the image? There it is. It's funny to me that they just tell you to copy and paste this, but they don't tell you where. At the same time, like, I'm a professional developer. I should be able to figure out where to paste this. But also, they are giving us a lot of code to start with, so it can be a bit confusing. What's up, Terawatt? My favorite variety streamer. I guess I do technically want to be a variety streamer. I'm just writing a lot of code these days. Though, I'm going to try to do an IRL stream tomorrow. All right, is the prediction done? Oh, no, it's not done yet. You have more time to predict. And here we go. So I'm going to set a 10-minute timer. Here's my goal. I want my linter to show red squigglies that this code is not formatted correctly. That's what I want. And so we're going to set a 10-minute timer, and I'm going to get ESLint, Airbnb config, TypeScript, and the Prettier plugin working together along with our existing config, which has the remix run ESLint config base. So here we go. I don't know the name of the package, but it's like ESLint config, Airbnb, TypeScript. I do believe this is the... Is this the main one? This has 1.4 million weekly downloads. I think this is it. So make sure you have the regular Airbnb config setup. If you're using React, use ESLint config Airbnb. If you aren't using React, use ESLint config Airbnb base. So we're using React because we're in the remix land. So I assume that this is what we will need. And we need all of these dependencies too, like ESLint plugin React. So if I do this command, it's going to install all of those other dependencies too. Oh, nice, Fob. Glad to hear it. You lost all your channel points betting against me? Well, do know I'm in a very unfamiliar environment right now. So it could take me a long time. So we've got that. Now what do I do? Tell me what to do. This add extends Airbnb to my ESLint RC. So this is what I want to do. I want to say extends Airbnb right there. This entry point enables the linting rules for React hooks to use. Add Airbnb. I guess I probably want rules for React hooks. Tic-tac? Tick-tock. Are you saying the clock's ticking? Cool. Cool. Okay, so that should give us Airbnb rules. And then we also want TypeScript. So I'm going to install this ESLint config Airbnb TypeScript. Yeah, so I installed ESLint config Airbnb just now. Yeah. And then now we can add Airbnb TypeScript below. So that will go right here. Cool. Configure the TypeScript parser. I think it probably should already be set up to do that. Yeah, parser services to be generated. So we'll do that. So we need parser options. And in the parser options, we need to tell it where the tsconfig is. And in this case, it should be at the root here, tsconfig. Yep. Cool. So now we want to make sure that Prettier can integrate. So we'll look at their docs on how to do that. First of all, do we already have a Prettier RC file? Am I missing it? We have a Prettier ignore. I'm going to create a Prettier RC file. Yeah, that's what I was guessing. Like, is it in a section in the package.json? It is. It's just empty. All right, I'm going to remove it and put it into a separate... I like having it in a separate file. So new file, .prettier.rc.js. It gets that. Tab width of 2, and I want semicolons. And then we can go integrating with linters. We need ESLint config prettier and ESLint plugin prettier. If we look at the package.json, we have ESLint config prettier, but we don't have ESLint plugin prettier. So now I'm going to install ESLint plugin prettier. And we already, in our ESLint config, we already have... Will we say extends prettier? Extends plugin prettier recommended. And then that will add the plugin. All right. I think we have all the dependencies. Did I do that right, though? Recommended configuration. Yeah, so we have ESLint config prettier, and then we're extending that. Let's reload the window to make sure that it has all of the latest configs and everything else. But it should be linting this file, I guess, unless... so the tsconfig might have an ignore. Plugin React was conflicted between remix run... This is not good. So remix run is now conflicting with Airbnb. So, and remix run ESLint config. What if I put these all before? What if I get rid of hooks? These should, if I put these all before and these override rules that I like, that could be an issue too, though. You have a rule which requires parser services to be generated. You must therefore provide a value per parser options.project. So we have that. What did I want to look at? Let's look at the tsconfig. Is it doing anything weird? Here's the thing. I actually don't need Airbnb TypeScript to get the linter errors. I think adding a prettier plugin recommended is all I need to get the linter errors. And I might just do that because they have their own config here. Plugin React was conflicted between that and that. How do I fix this error? npm dedupe? It's taking a really long time. Can the install finish in 1 minute and 28 seconds? Oh, is there... I mean, there might be other stuff in the package.json that I didn't see also. No. ESLint ignore. Well, I don't want to remove the... So that would work if I just like comment these out. But I have a feeling that they're doing a lot of stuff on my behalf. All right, moment of truth. No. Here's the thing: if I comment these two out and then reload, yeah, okay. Yeah, we just removed Airbnb, but okay, we have 30 seconds left. In a second, you're gonna see it. I'm gonna get errors in this file because it's using double quotes, and so that fixes that. And then if I go over here, we should see some linter errors. We do, and then if I run my linter, that fixes that too. Now, here's the thing. We're not using the Airbnb config, but we are using this, which gives us that behavior that I wanted. I just don't know if these configs are doing things that I really need versus trying to do the Airbnb thing. So, time is up. So this is their one that we're extending. This is extremely unfair towards SvelteKit. What do you mean? No, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think I'm gonna refund the points. I don't think like. I guess I want to look at their ESLint config. Actually, okay. That's exactly what I was about to do, ShadowSec. And welcome in. Thank you for commenting and being here in the coding garden. Because they already have all the plugins for React and everything else, I should just add the Airbnb config that doesn't have the React plugin. Right? So, in that case, here's the deal. If I continue working on this, I absolutely didn't do it. If I give up and say, okay, this is all we need, I think it's a wash. But because I am who I am, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep going, which means I failed. I did not do it. Sorry, everyone. It's really unfortunate because last time people didn't vote for me and they lost their points, and now this time people did vote for me and then they lost their points. Yeah, sorry. That's a lot of points. That's very funny. I'm here for the comedy. Now, let's go back to the Airbnb thing. If you aren't using React, use Base. Okay. Here's the thing. My package.json is just like super whack right now because it has all of these extra ESLint plugins like these. I don't think these actually need to be there because they're hidden in the... I'm just going to make a guess that I don't need these. These. And then I don't need ESLint Airbnb config anymore. Yeah. And then I want to make sure that I remove those other extraneous dependencies. And then I can do this to get Airbnb base instead of just the ESLint Airbnb config, which had the React stuff. I don't want the React stuff. Here we go. So those were peer dependencies for Airbnb that is not base. Chiago Tima, thank you very much for the resub. So I was editing a video and I saw myself try and pronounce your name, and I'm very sorry that last time you subbed, I was like Thiago Tima. Thank you for the resub. Okay. What am I doing? We installed this. Great. Now, we want to do Airbnb base instead of Airbnb. Honestly, this should fix the issue. Right here. And then right there. And then we'll also reload the window. Environment keys Cypress globals is unknown. Did I accidentally remove the Cypress plugin? Oh, thanks, Eddie. Yeah, I think I was in the middle of coding last time, and then the resub popped up, and I also couldn't read it very well, so I was like, Thiago? Well, I know in Brazilian Portuguese, like the th is like a ch sound, like Thiago. Maybe not exactly, but like Thiago. I did something wrong here. Oh boy. First of all, I can comment that out for now. I deleted one too many lines. I agree with that. Oh, I guess I did. I thought I had the ESLint plugins. I thought I left ESLint plugin Cypress. That's really all we need. That was there originally. Okay, it's I see. It's complaining now that I see the .js isn't in here, so I actually want to do this. Committed the yeah, then I could have reverted to base. You're right. You're not wrong. tsconfig. I just want that. And I also want that. Did I do that right? eslint.rc.js. I mean, really, this should actually be .commonjs like that. And this should be CommonJS too. And then this should also be CommonJS. And then we reload the window. It's what I've been doing, BTBAP, is Command-Shift-P and then search for a reload window. It's working. It's working. Okay, so fix that. And then if we go back over to here, I'm going to re-copy paste this in. They wanted us to copy this. Nice. Nice. Okay, so we got it working. I think that's the main issue was the Airbnb config alone has a bunch of React stuff in it, but because we're already using the remix run base config, it has all of the React stuff, which means we can just use the Airbnb base config. That's exciting. Okay, so we got it working. It's a little frustrating. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10, mainly because, 7 out of 10. It took me longer than expected, but we got it working. Tailwind is already set up to go. What should I say? 6 out of 10? What are you whatting, Terrell? What do you say? Generous? 5 out of 10. The thing is, my ratings here are really my own level of frustration, right? It has nothing to do with Remix itself. It's just like, how good am I at figuring out how to modify this config? Yeah. Yeah, I agree, M. Huggins, and that's why we're here. That's why we're testing all this stuff. Out of the first 3, which one is my favorite so far? Honestly, I really like how Nuxt, the framework itself, works. But in terms of the Nuxt 3 ecosystem, they don't have a good, solid auth solution, like battle-tested, production-ready, no bugs, will just instantly work. They don't have one yet for Nuxt 3, and that's an issue. Remix just has everything built in, so it's really hard to judge it against these others because it just has everything. It just has everything. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you compare yesterday, so when we generated our Nuxt app yesterday, it literally had 3 files in it. Yeah, Nuxt is a Vue framework. It had 3 files, and it was up to us to look at the docs to figure out, oh, we need a pages folder and a layout folder and everything else. This template we used for Remix just has everything. Okay, let's keep following the tutorial. I may just like jump ship from the tutorial at some point because I need to get Google OAuth working, and we'll see if that'll be the true test, is if I can get Google OAuth working. All right, so we added a link to blog posts. Prisma client did not initialize. That's fine. When I did a clean install earlier, it removed all of the Prisma generated types. So that's the issue there. Come on. Preload. What would you say is more similar to Angular, Nuxt or SvelteKit? The deeper you get into SvelteKit, you'll see the more opinions that they have a lot of opinions, and they have a lot of like Svelte specific things that they decided to do. So I would say it's probably more similar to Svelte in that like it's its own domain. Like you got to learn all the page file stuff and stuff like that. We got auth working with Next, yeah. It just took a long time, and there were a few hacks we had to do to get it working. Great. We're at this point. We don't have a post route, so we need to create a post route. And the tutorial is telling me I actually need to create a folder in the routes called posts, and then inside of there I can create an index file, and then that will be the route that will show all of the posts. Give me the code. I can put this in here. Run my linter on it. Beautiful. And then now when I go to this page, it's still not found. That's weird. Right? Did I do something wrong? So routes, posts, index.tsx. Remix it? Should be under routes. App routes posts index. App routes posts index. There is a space. Thank you, Mr. Jiro. And Anonymous, thank you for the gifted sub. Why was there a space? Did I copy paste that? That's my fault. That's my fault. That's not the framework's fault. There we go. Posts. Loading data. So loading data is built into Remix. So here is where we're going to actually test the full stack type safety. So, yeah, look at this. And Anonymous, thank you for that gift as well. Anonymous out here gifting all the community members. Appreciate that. Cool. So, user loader data. Use loader data is a hook that we can use here, and then we define a function loader that returns an array of posts. Now, posts should have so the type flows through. So this is basically how you get full stack type safety here. Like, I didn't have to define an interface and then say like this is of type of that interface. It can basically infer the type of the return value here with this little bit of magic right here. So it can figure out what this thing resolves to, so that way this has the types, and then I can use the types in my UI. Yeah, it is crazy that you saw that space. We probably would have debugged that for like at least 20 minutes if we didn't fix that space. So that's cool. Then we can bring in the link component to link to that specific page, and then I think the tutorial is going to take us through. Will probably take us through creating an individual page for each post. But this is fine. We all know React. We can iterate over posts in our JSX. Cool. That's pretty cool. Let's do some refactoring. Oh, I like this. Put this in a backend server route. Awesome. And they define the type themselves. I guess that makes sense. Actually, you wouldn't. I guess if you wanted to define the type of the return type of the function, then you absolutely would need to define that type there. Because now then this thing is fully typed, and we don't have to do this is a little bit cumbersome to have to pass in type of there, but let's get this going. So we have models. That is an interesting place to put this. I would not call these models. I would call these services. I would call these like route handlers, or I would call these. This is basically like our data our DAL, like data access layer. That's what these are. So models I typically reserve for the actual model from the database, like the Prisma schema, I guess. In this case, Prisma automatically generates those models. It's up to you. It's not an opinion. Oh, really? So it doesn't have to be models? Okay, that's good to know, because in my experience, this does not. These aren't models. This is data access layer, but that's fine. Okay. I think this is complaining because it's not the default export. Yeah, so Airbnb config has a rule that's like, hey, if it's not the default export, if there's only one export in a file, it should be the default export. In this case, we're probably going to have other exports in here because we have get all posts. We'll probably have another export that's get one post, etc. React is a framework I've been magically able to avoid most of my web dev career. That's crazy. Okay. Over here, wait, where am I? What am I doing? Oh, I was going to update my ESLint config to tell it that actually it is okay to not have a default export. And then it'll stop complaining over here. Cool. But now that we've got this fancy get post function, we can just import it. So we'll import get posts. Honestly, TypeScript should be able to auto import it for me like that. Yeah. And then our code changes because we just get back. Wait. Okay, I got a little ahead of myself. And Anonymous, thank you for the gift to Oscar as well. I'm just laughing because Anonymous is like picking people to specifically give to. All right, we still need the loader. I'm not a fan of that. I just thought it was gonna be magic. I see. Oh, I see. And then this is what gets replaced. Okay, that's one thing I actually don't like about this. Like, and then and then I still have to do this. This is cumbersome. No, I thought you were about to give me a whole bunch of magic. This is just a little bit like this. Just moved this function elsewhere. And that's fine. Like, I think the thing is, like, in the React ecosystem, typically there's not a lot of magic. Things are basically like you have to import it to get access to it, that kind of thing. But I would prefer that I could just define a function and then somehow use it in my route or something like that. Preferred resource for learning React Redux. I don't know anymore. There we go, poster there. And then we go there and it's not found. I don't think I'm even go through the part of, actually this would integrate with the database, but I know how to do that. This would just be a DB query. Look, I can do it without looking at the thing. Watch me. Posts are await. Actually I can't. Where do we import the Prisma client from? There, cool. Prisma dot need to seed the database. I need to update my schema. Never mind. I don't want to do all that. Cool. See you later, Phoebe. But to the person asking about Redux, I have some really old videos on my channel talking about Redux. They're probably still relevant. I don't think Redux has changed much in the past few years. But I mean, and the reason I hesitated when I was answering, it's because it's probably you're working in like an older a code base that's maybe a year or two old. Older, because these days there's less apps are choosing Redux. But this is Coding Garden from 2018 talking about the basics of Redux, really like the basics of the flux pattern. I talked through this diagram that was going around for a while. And then we convert an app that wasn't using Redux to use Redux. Wow, Broad. Good luck. Good luck. I think you'll like it. Honestly, like I used Linux almost exclusively in college, and then I converted to being a Mac user. So, what's up, Need More Wood? Do you need that promise array post stuff? Oh, yeah, eventually. But there's more code that needs to be written. First of all, we need to create the post schema. We need to seed the database. We need to generate the migrations, and then we can get access to all of that, which I don't feel like doing right now. I could figure all this stuff out on my own. So great. At this point, I actually want to get login with Google OAuth working. So we'll just research what's going to be involved for that, because they're using something for auth, right? I don't know what they're using, and I don't know if it supports OAuth or if I'm going to have to do some pretty custom stuff there. Now, layout, it gave me all of that. I guess technically we could try to set up Daisy UI, but let's just do this. If we have a Tailwind config, we could easily set up Daisy UI. Like I'm not even going to do it, because I know all I have to do is install it, and then add it to this config. It'd be fine. So I'm really just even going to skip that. Let's get social auth working. So let's look in their docs. First of all, I don't even know what it's using for auth. Is it their own library? Is it some other library? Is it Passport? Is it Grant? Did they just code it all from scratch and generate the code for it? Login. Honestly, I need to run my linter against all of these other files too. So let me do that. npm run lint. I don't know if it does an autofix though. Session.server.ts. Create cookie session storage from remix run node. They are not using a framework. They implemented it all from scratch. I'll confirm that in a second. I want to fix all these linter errors real quick. There's remix auth and remix auth social. Okay, I'll look into it. It'd be interesting to see, like, if I try to pull in one of those libraries, I might have to like rework all of this other stuff. Okay, so that fixed all my linter errors. Let's just examine the code base, because we've got session.server.ts. Let's look at root really quick. This loads our app. So that's a thing. And then session.server.ts has our session storage, which just stores our sessions in an HTTP only cookie. And then these are signed. And RWX Rob, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, raiders. Glad to have you. You've arrived at the coding garden. And shout out to our good friend Rob. There, yeah, and definitely click that follow button. Yeah, you too. What were you working on today? Hacker Beach Yoga. Nice. Thanks for bringing all your friends over. But you've arrived at the coding garden. We are trying full stack frameworks. So Saturday we tried SvelteKit. Yesterday we tried Nuxt. Today we are trying Remix. And we're finding that Remix is like really full featured. It has a bunch of stuff built in. But we're at the point where I want to implement Google OAuth. I want to be able to log in with Google, and the app that we generated came generated with some login code already. So right now I'm just trying to read all the code and figure out how it's doing this, because I don't think it's using a separate library, and then we'll figure out how to get OAuth working. Okay, I'll look in the docs at session really quick. So, yeah, SvelteKit. It's fine. So I guess, yeah, I'll clarify. We're not really even evaluating the framework itself. We're evaluating the ecosystem. And one of the pain points of everything we've done so far is getting social auth working seamlessly without having to write everything from scratch. Like I know how to implement it from scratch. Like I can implement the OAuth flow. I could figure out how to do a session store. I could write the code to insert users into the database and stuff like that. I don't want to do that because I know there are frameworks out there that or libraries out there that do that for me. And that's the experience that I want. And with SvelteKit, we tried to use Sidebase Auth, which is based on Next.auth. We eventually got it working, but we had to search through GitHub issues to fix some things, and it was just pretty cumbersome. So that was our main issue with it. It's like we got it working, but I want to be able to get it working without all of those speed bumps and issues. Yeah. No, I'm gonna upload the VOD because the VOD got split because I went down for a second. So I'm gonna upload the combined VOD to YouTube tonight. It's amazing how much OAuth has permeated enterprise systems. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's just keep reading the code. So it's doing the session stuff. Create cookie session storage is from this Remix node library. Yeah, we tried using. Wait, never mind. I misspoke. The thing that I just talked about was actually with Nuxt. We tried to use Sidebase Auth with Nuxt. SvelteKit, we tried to use this, and it's just broken right now. And for what we were trying to do, it's broken. They fixed it like a couple hours after the stream ended, but that hasn't been pushed to NPM yet. So it's still. We tried it, and it's broken. It's too early. It's too early. Get the users, require user, create user session. This is a lot of manual code. Now, it's not the end of the world, right? Like, but I want create user session to be hidden from me. Like I want this to be inside some library that's like really well maintained, and then I can pass in options for like when the cookie should expire and stuff like that. I don't really want to see this code in my code base. I've worked in a lot of code bases where this code is in my code base, and I don't. Yeah, so I'm gonna look into Remix Auth. There was a section. Somebody mentioned there's a section in the docs about session. Let's look at it. Clean abstractions, exactly. Using sessions. Cookie session storage. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a clean abstraction. It just needs to be some kind of abstraction. Like, yeah. So I will say, like, Remix gets a 10 out of 10 in the docs, right? Like, this section of the documentation is literally walking you through how they implemented this session.server file. Yeah. So that's the thing. We could use like a third-party auth provider, and honestly, we might just settle on that, right? Because like SvelteKit is really cool. The auth story isn't played out yet. Nuxt, same idea, but I really like the way Nuxt works, so maybe we go with like a third-party auth provider. Why that code shouldn't be in your code base? Just because it's more code to maintain and more code that you could potentially get wrong, right? Security is a serious issue. So like they're configuring the cookie options here, and HTTP only true. Same site lax isn't necessarily a good security practice. Like you usually want same site to be what are the other options here? Strict, so that like this cookie will not go to go through. How do I talk about this? So that if you do same site strict, cookies won't pass through with like fetch and XHR requests, and you want that because if you don't have strict cookies, then you're potentially open up to cross-site request forgery. Now Now, just because it's lax doesn't mean it's vulnerable to cross-site request forgery. Like, thank you for all these supports, by the way. Tub Tutor, thank you for the 2 months, and Wrong Missy, 21 months. That's awesome. Thank you. You probably also want something. I don't even know if they're doing anything with CSRF, cross-site request forgery. So that may need to be implemented as well. But basically, it's really easy to get this stuff wrong, which is why I don't want it in my code base side. That's why I want someone else who can set the secure defaults, and then I can just use that and then modify them if I know what I'm doing. But yeah. Yeah. And then you wouldn't want to roll your own crypto library either. Yeah. And probably, so for like user login and sign up, they're using bcrypt, I'm guessing, to like hash passwords. They're also doing like, so here's the other thing. They're doing like a very manual validation as well. Like I would have preferred to, I mean, honestly, I think probably their mentality is like someone's going to come in here and just rewrite this stuff to do their preferred way of doing it. But like for password validation, I probably would use a library like Zod or like Joy or Yup. I mean, these days Zod. To add all of these restrictions like length and is it a string and stuff like that, instead of manually writing all of this out. And then the other thing is, in backend code bases that I've worked in, I actually don't like returning responses like this multiple times, because the issue with this is then it's really easy to have like non-standard responses now, where like some new developer to the team comes in and then just adds some new property to this response object. That's just my linter complaining. Whereas if this just threw an error, so if this threw an exception right here that is just the string error, then we could have like a common response handler somewhere else that automatically sets the status code to 400, right? Because right here, like we're repeating the code of setting the status code to 400, and I don't want to do that. I want to have a common place that sees, oh, there was an error, and then sets the status code there. All right, and then this create user function, where is that defined? This is in our user file, and then this just uses bcrypt. Yeah, so ultimately, like if an auth framework didn't exist, I would have had to have written all of this code anyways. So I get that. And Eddie, thank you for the sub. But I just worry that by generating an app with all of this code, a lot of people are never going to touch it or like really know what they should change if they want to like modify the auth flow or things like that. So that's why I don't want to have code that is hash like, yeah, I don't know. We're gonna look into remix auth because that's what several people have suggested. But what I've determined is that they're doing everything from scratch, and like I've built apps this way, right? I have manually validated users, manually hashed passwords, manually created sessions. But I want to find a framework that integrates with Remix that does all of that for me. So people are saying remix auth. Let's look into it. And then also, does their docs say anything about it? Authentication. When am I going to start working on the app? First week of January. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and see, I mean, that's kind of the point that I'm getting at. It's like, it's not that I can't do it. It's that I need to focus on other parts of, like, I need to be an expert in the problem domain, not an expert in the authentication flow, right? And I think that's honestly, that's an argument for just using something like Auth0 or Firebase Auth or Superbase Auth or something like that, because they handle all of that. The thing is, you still would need to, if you're using a backend framework like this, you still need to integrate that into your backend app somehow. Remix stacks authentication. Sorry. Okay, let's look at Remix Auth. Simple authentication for Remix. Is this from the core team or is it a third-party library? Third party? Inspired by Passport, rewrote from scratch on top of the Web Fetch API. Cool. Good to know. Good to know. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any other like Remix people in the chat, but would you recommend this? This is the way to go if I want to implement auth. And I guess, does this have OAuth? It does. I don't see any. Their main README doesn't have examples. And so I would use this base library and then integrate it with Remix Auth Social. They do have Google. Remix Auth strategy template. Cool. So like there's a base auth template that they forked, and the base auth template was created by this library, and then they forked it to add social auth. So it just gives us back the profile. This is where you would create or put it into your database. Okay, so we are going to have to do a little bit of manual work. Seems fine. I guess here's the thing. Do we do the manual work, or do I just make a note that, okay, these are the libraries that I would use, and then honestly, I'll at least integrate the libraries. I'll decide whether or not I want to spend the time integrating it into my database and everything else, because really, if we decide on using Remix for the app that we build, that'll just be content, right? That'll be me basically getting this to work in the same way that like Next.auth works, and that it automatically puts the profile into the database. It has like a session store and everything else. Let's get this going. We're gonna integrate Remix Auth. The other thing is, should I generate a new Remix app that doesn't have all of this stuff already in it? Because the app that we're gonna be building, I do not want username and password login, right? And so, and I honestly, I don't want to go in and like rip out these files. So I think I want to generate a new Remix app that doesn't have this auth stuff, so that I can add the social auth, and then that's the only way of logging in, right? Or do I just delete the stuff that I don't need? It feels like a daunting task to delete the stuff that I don't need. We'll look at the examples. The verdict up till now is we're still deciding, and I don't think I've even hinted at to like what I'm preferring, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Deleting is easier. Let's look at these examples. Whoa. Remix Auth GitHub. I'm guessing that they are using, yeah, so we would pull in remix auth Google instead. Yeah, I guess like this is another thing. I mean, obviously these are just examples, but I mean, we talked about this before when we were working on the Fresh Spots app. Like this kind of code that's like validating environment variables, I also want that in one central location, right? Like I want like an environment variable loader that if I'm missing an environment variable, it just stops the app from starting. Technically, this would stop the app from starting, but everywhere I'm using environment variables, I need to like write this custom code. So that is something else we would want to figure out. Fork the indie stack, rip the things you don't need, generate your app based on the fork stack. Yeah, so and that's what I mean. So if let me just show the code that we wrote for this. I mean, honestly, like I think it's a pattern that I'm going to follow in every app we work on. So Next.js is Friday. We're going to be working on Next.js, and I don't think we're going to use create T3 app because in everything else that we've evaluated, we've used the CLI provided by the ecosystem. At the end of the day, whatever we end up creating will probably be similar to create T3 app because we're using all the things that it uses. But we are evaluating the ecosystem itself, not necessarily third-party stuff. At least for the project generation. We are evaluating third-party stuff for like auth flow and stuff like that. But for this app, if you look in our utils and in our config loader, basically, this exports an object with all of the things that I need to use throughout my application, and this is where it loads them from my environment variables. But after loading them, we pass it through a Zod parser validator, and if any one of these things are missing, it throws an error and the app crashes. The other thing is we created an enum with all of our environment variable names. Like this is not strongly typed, right? So if you made a typo in trying to access one of your environment variable names, you wouldn't know because you made that typo. But what we also did is we created basically like an enum of all the possible environment variables that we would use. And now if I needed those really we only needed them in one place, but if I did need them in multiple places, now there's like one source of truth and I don't have like strings all over my code base. So that's like another thing. Whatever app we build, we're probably going to set up something like this. What's up, J-Mode? Welcome in. Okay. Can I use this as a template for generating an app? Or do I just, honestly, it's pretty basic. I probably just want my base. I just want to generate a base template. Here's what I'm going to do. At least for today, I'm going to create a, oh, this is your Twitch recap? Is this your, favorite streamer? Coding Garden. Nice. Appreciate that. And WBW, thank you for that Prime resub. Okay, so if we did a create remix, we could pass it the repo name. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a base app without the indie template, and we're going to add social auth into it. And I guess I'll try to turn it into YouTube content. I haven't done anything lately that could be easily edited down, so I can get in the headspace of like performing for YouTube. let's do that. That's what we're gonna do. But the goal is to integrate. Wait, did I accidentally close? Yeah, the goal is to integrate Remix Auth Socials with a base Remix app. That is the plan. Content. Yeah, so this is, let me create a to-do. Um, 21 remix. First step, generate remix app. Second step, integrate remix auth. No, so I'm gonna use remix auth, but I want to do it from an app that doesn't already have all of this user stuff, because eventually the app that we work on will not have username and password login. It's only gonna have social login, or maybe like magic links in email. I don't think I'm ever gonna build an app again that has username and passwords. So with that said, I'm gonna generate an app that doesn't already have all of that code in it. When I integrate this, I probably just need remix auth socials, right? Yeah. So that's really just one step. Cross my fingers. Log in with Google. And then I think like if everything goes well, we'll have a stretch, which is set up Prisma, and then insert user into DB. Create session on login. Yeah, don't expose my tokens. Yeah. Okay, this is the plan. Does this sound good to everyone? Does this sound boring? Does this sound... I mean, are you excited? Excited to see what happens here? I think we'll go to remix.run too. And thank you, part-time married. Yeah, I mean, my hair's the same. I just put some product in it to, like, slick it back a little bit. This is the command we want to run. Okay. Show a blank screen. Well, thank you, Killer. I could just sit here and you would enjoy watching. All right, let's do it. We can run a prediction. Here's the prediction we're gonna do. Oh, and thank you for that hype train. I didn't even know what happened. Appreciate you all. Here's the prediction. Working Google OAuth flow in under 30 minutes. This does not include the database aspect of this. This is really just, I click login with Google, it redirects me to the Google page. I click my user, it redirects me back to the app, and then I have a cookie set. That is what we're saying. And can I do that in less than 30 minutes? That's what you're going to be predicting. Yeah, ESLint got set up in like under 15 minutes. And for this app, I'm probably just going to copy and paste the config. Not because of Remix, but because of Google. I mean, that's a valid strategy. I don't know why it defaults to 30 seconds. That's actually really too quick for a prediction, but that's okay. And for the video intro, I'm not even going to talk about the stretch features. Session cookie is set. Why is that? Why does that happen? Okay. Here we go. Honestly, I'm gonna go turn my air conditioner off. Go all in. The prediction's over. How's my tweet doing, by the way? Lots of responses. Lots of people saying Theo should be my... So the Theo army is here. That's really funny. But if you didn't notice, I made a tweet. I'm not following anyone on Twitter. Who should be my first follow? Cool. Honestly, it might be Coding Train. Like I wouldn't think I would be here today without Coding Train. I was also thinking about it, and I was like, maybe it'll just be trash dev. What's so good about I don't know. Ask the people that watch him a lot. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go turn my AC off, and then we'll get started. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Also, how do I want to intro this video? Actually, I think I'll talk about it as being a 30-minute challenge. That's how I'll frame this. I didn't say anything about Theo. Calm down. Don't start stuff, Oscar. All I said was, I don't know why people like. I didn't. Come on. You can clip it. I didn't say anything bad about Theo. Right. Here we go. 30-minute challenge. Can I implement Google OAuth with Remix? I need to blow my nose. Hello. Okay. Hello, friends. Wait, there was a drop in front of my face. I'm also gonna wait for this name to disappear before I start the video. And hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden. In this 30-minute challenge, I am going to attempt to implement Google OAuth with Remix. Now, Remix is a full-stack framework that I have very little experience with. Today was the first time that I've ever used it. I went through the first parts of their tutorial and learned about the framework. It's pretty cool. But what we're going to do now is generate a new app and then try to integrate this Remix Auth library and this Remix Auth Socials library to get login with Google. So these are our steps today. Generate the app, integrate it, get login with Google working. That at least is setting a session cookie. That's my plan. That's my 30-minute challenge. If we get that working, there might be some stretch features, but that's what we're going to try to do. Here we go. I have 30 minutes to do it. I need to generate an app, and I'm actually not going to use a template. So what I learned today with Remix is they have a lot of different templates, and you can read about what templates they have. But for what I'm doing, I want a very basic app, a very... I don't want a bunch of stuff in it. I want it to be super basic so that I can just add the things that I need. So I'm going to run this command here. And where would I like to create my app? So let's do Remix example Google login. I think I typed the right thing, and then I want just the basics. And then I'll deploy this to dino.dev, and I'm using TypeScript. Please install my dependencies. It started typing on top of what I was typing, but I think it's going to create a folder called remix example Google login. Yeah, and while dependencies are installing, if you like this video, click like, sub to the channel. There's also a thank you button if you want to give me money. Also, I'm live on Twitch right now, so go head over to twitch.tv/codinggarden and watch me live because it's super fun. You can be in the chat. You can tell me things. So yeah, it created that folder, remix example Google login. And then if I do npm run dev, we should get an app. Let's see. Cool. So we get an app on localhost 8000. It's a super basic remix app. Let's look at the code. We have our remix config, and then the app folder is where all our routes are going to go. We have our root entry point. Oh wait, this is using Dino? I guess I told it to use Dino. I told it to use Dino. That makes sense. I told it to use Dino. But we're getting a lot of like linter errors now. Which I don't really want to deal with in this 30-minute challenge. Let's see. When we ran it, I guess when we ran it though, didn't Dino cache all of our dependencies? And is it Dino enable true, Dino lint false? I don't want these linter errors to get in my way right now. What is happening? Why is this telling me that I did tell it to use Dino? Okay. We can just ignore all of the linter errors, I guess. I don't want to include this in the 30-minute challenge. Let's make our life hard. The thing is, if we're using Dino, then this would need to be like that, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Oh, well. We know that the app works and there's no errors in the console, so we're going to ignore any linter errors that happen. Is this ESLint that's complaining? No, it's Dino that's complaining. Let's actually just disable Dino altogether. That should fix that. Don't lint it. Don't enable it. Great. The red squigglies are gone. Let's try to integrate this library. So remix auth, a library from Sergio, and it's an easy way to integrate auth into your Remix app. They have the Remix auth strategy template that the real flying coder forked to create Remix auth socials, and this is how we're going to get Google OAuth integrated. So we're going to install Remix auth. Wait, at this point, do I not do npm install? I'm just confused. I chose Dino deploy, but now I don't know if we actually need npm install versus just like Dino install. I know we're going to do Dino deploy. I'm assuming we need npm install, remix auth, and remix auth socials. I'm assuming. And then it tells us to set up our route. So we're just going to follow their tutorial and then modify from there. So in routes auth $provider. So we need, first of all, an auth folder in our routes folder. And then we need a $provider in that. And this needs to be a TSX file. I'm not sure that it works with Dino. No, I'm not. Okay, so I'm actually... How do I change that? We're losing time. The timer already started, right? 24 minutes. We're just going to assume that it's going to work. So we have the dependencies. Now I need this in my provider.tsx file. What does this do? It redirects the user back to login, and then tries to authenticate with the given provider. Yeah, so in Remix, I believe the $ tells it that this is going to be a param. So params.provider will be Google, because we're going to be doing Google Auth. Do I not have Remix run /node? Oh, I don't, because I have... because I'm using Dino. I chose it to use... Why did I choose Dino? Okay, we are 6 minutes in. We're 6 minutes in. I'm going to scrap the app that we generated and try again, because now I know that I actually need to... I need to choose... I'm just going to choose Node. I guess if I chose... I don't know. Here we go. One more time. Let's try again. Best stream ever. No. Okay. Remix example Google login. I want just the basics. Where do I want to deploy? If I choose Versal, like how do I choose Node? How do I make it so that it's Node? Let's look at the deploy targets here in Remix. Remix app server will do Node. Okay, I'm going to trust you. I'm not even going to look into it. Remix app server, TypeScript, please install dependencies. Here we go. All right, we're going to do Remix app server. The most honest accident ever. What's up, Robert Tables? Hopefully you're doing all right. I can trust Maple with my life. I think I would. They've provided a lot of really good insight and suggestions today. So. Here we go. Remix, example, Google login, run dev. So ideally, the app is still working. Not 8,000. Now it's on 3,000. Cool. App is there. Let's open VS Code, and hopefully we don't have all those weird issues that we did before. So if we look in here, seems fine. So back to where we were. We need a new folder called auth, and inside of there we need a $provider.tsx. Here we go. Here we go. Dino would have worked, but I didn't know. Oh, I thought these were like auth specific. Action args and redirect probably did exist in the Dino dependency. You're right. It's okay. It'll make for good content. Cool. So we pull those in, and then we don't have an auth.server file yet. Let's create that. Yeah, this is where our auth. This is the auth server thing. It's really funny that I said that I was going to implement this. I'm just copying and pasting code. And do I need a server folder? Yeah, so in here, folder, server, and then inside of there, a file called auth.server.ts. Cool. I forgot that we deleted the folder, so we do need to install Remix Auth and Remix Auth socials as dependencies as well. I am a live coder. I am copying and pasting code. So by creating this auth server file, this should stop complaining about this being imported. That's fine. Yeah, provider could be undefined. I mean, really, eventually we're going to want to throw an error that's like, if provider does not equal Google, throw an error. Provider not supported. I have no idea if this is the right way to do things. Like if I throw an error here, is that just going to result in an error page or something like that? You're right. I might as well name this auth/Google, and then I don't even need that. I agree. Here we go. Google.tsx. And then I can just hard code Google. There we go. Then we don't even need params. That's the way to go. Okay, back to the README. We created this file. We now want our callback. So yeah, in the OAuth flow, wait, if I call it google.callback, is it going to be able to map it to the right URL? Change my mind. We're going to go back to the generic $ provider. Params. Cool. I can set it in the redirect URI. Okay, I guess I'm not that far yet, but this wants a file called provider.callback in here. So $provider.callback.tsx. It looks like this isn't even JSX, so these actually could be TS files. So on success, redirect back to the dashboard. On failure, redirect to the login page. Seems fine. TypeScript is complaining because provider could be nothing, could be undefined, but it'll still work as long as we only pass in Google to the URL. All right, now we need a login page. This is the page where they will click login. And so this is just app routes login. There's this. And really, we only want Google. I will say, for this library, it's pretty cool that they have a little enum like this, social providers, and then they have Google in there, so that's cool. It's supposed to be TSX. The loader is only available in TSX. Oh, interesting. Okay. It's fine by me. And then we need a logout route, which just logs out and redirects to the home page. Great. And then we created the strategy thing, which we'll have to go update. And then we need our protected dashboard. So over here in route/dashboard, I'm still just laughing at the fact that I'm literally just copying and pasting all of this stuff. This is the dashboard page that only logged in users can see. And then in our index page, if you are logged in, redirect to the dashboard. That's what this is doing. Cool. To do, create README doc for each strategy to show options and link. Okay, but now what I need to do is I need to actually put my stuff in here because I want the Google strategy. I don't want Facebook or anything like that. We're basically just setting this up to use the Google strategy. So we'll set up an environment file, process.env.google client ID. And then right here, this will be process.env.google client secret. We'll follow the pattern that I saw in some other remix code that was like, if this doesn't exist, throw an error. That should be fine, and that gets TypeScript to stop complaining about the code below it because it knows that it'll never make it there if I didn't specify those environment variables. The callback URL, I think we're running on port 3000, so that needs to be that Google callback. And then this right now is complaining because I don't have a session storage set up. I do believe that, yeah, so now in the remix auth README, it tells me how to create this session.server file. So I need a services folder and then a file called session.server.tsx. Or .ts, apparently. You don't need the TSX there. What are you saying dang it for? So this has the cookie setup. As you can hear, the wind is blowing really hard outside, but that's fine. HTTP only cookie. The cookie will be valid for the root, and then we need a secret. So I'm just going to pass this in as cookie secret. We'll create another environment variable called cookie secret. And then we'll do the same thing we did over here where we throw an error if that environment variable isn't set, so we know that it's missing or that it wasn't loaded. This will also be a good test of like, does Remix auto load the .env file, or do I need to install like .env or something like that? Cookie secret missing. Okay. Yeah, it's supposed to get negative 50 degrees like today and Friday. So that's a thing. All right, now that we have all of that set up, this thing, services, needs to be in the root. So services session.server. And we only need the Google strategy. Why is this complaining? I guess I just need a relative path. Yeah, like that. Though, did we not? Yeah, we didn't need that to import server. Why do we need that over here? This should just work as that. Where's the tilde? There. Okay. I don't know why it wasn't working before. Should be fine. Now create a file with the remix auth configuration. So services auth.ts. I guess I need this too. Services auth.server.ts. We need a user type. User type is whatever you want and whatever you still are in this session storage to identify the authenticated user. It can be complete user data or a string with a token. Okay. What if we just create a little type user, and then it just has a Google ID that is a string like this. Like that. Okay, so that's our user type. And then we're ready to go? Is it all just going to work now? Cannot find module remix auth. Pretty sure we installed it. Let's just be sure. Cookie secret is missing. That's a good sign. Now we need to set up our environment variables. So I'm just going to create a .env in the root. We need cookie secret, the classic keyboard cat. You would want this to be like a long, randomly generated string in production. And then we need the Google client ID and the Google client secret. So let me go add those secrets real quick. Presumably the prod that crash is more subtle than that. Well, I think the thing is like your CI pipeline would fail if it notices that the environment variables are missing, right? Like that's right, right. So it should catch it early. Keyboard cat was an early internet meme, and then for whatever reason, all of the Node.js tutorials that had like some sort of secret would always use keyboard cat. Does everybody remember Keyboard Cat? Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum. Yeah, I like standing desks. This desk I'm at is technically a standing desk, but it is I have so much stuff on it. It's actually really hard to like move up and down. So I often don't move it up and down. It stays a sitting desk or a standing desk. Okay. I have my .env set up. Now, somebody in the chat said that it would auto load my .env, but let's see. I'll need to restart because I reset my .env. Or I updated my .env. Look at that. So it auto does that. Welcome. Please log in. Log in with Google. The request was invalid. Redirect URI mismatch. That's fine. So I actually just need to go to my Google OAuth settings and tell it that it should expect the callback, which was set up over here, which is just auth Google callback. Yeah, that's what I need to do. I was just like, could I update it to be what it's expecting? But no. Okay, let me do that. We have 8 minutes and 10 seconds left. Google Developer Console. Easy challenge. I think I can do it too. Where we could run into an issue is like the fact that we're returning that profile object. We may need to customize that. Because I don't know the exact spot where we are returning the thing that'll get put into the session store. So we may need to customize that. Take a few more minutes to increase the drama. Okay, so I went over to the Google Dev Console. I added the fact that we should expect the redirect to be localhost 3000 auth Google callback. Let's see what happens. Redirect URI mismatch. Sometimes it takes a second to update. This has nothing to do with my app, but I'm just going to restart it because I'm superstitious. So here we go. Redirect URI mismatch. All right, I'm gonna look at the network traffic and see what it's sending the redirect URI as. I thought that it would be this. This should be the redirect URI, but maybe it's not what I expect. So give me a second. http://localhost 3000/auth/google/callback. Yeah, Google does say that it could take a while to update. So, like, is this going to be why this challenge fails? Is because Google hasn't updated? Let me just make sure I didn't make a typo. And then they just changed the UI all of a sudden. Now I don't even know how to get back to that page. What's up, Florin? Welcome in. Oh, here it is. Or is it? I literally am going to get locked out because I don't know how to get back to that configuration page. Okay. I found it. I did callback/Google instead of Google/callback. That was the issue. Okay, we have 4 minutes left. Let's see. Let's see if I can get it done. Okay, moment of truth. We click login with Google. We get redirected. We click our username. we were at the dashboard, and look at that, they know what my name is. It works. Like, that's it, right? It'll be interesting to see what is in the cookies. So we have this session variable. It should be a signed session value. Honestly, I shouldn't be showing this because I don't think that they would put my access token inside of there. But I am curious, how does it know my name? I think because I'm returning the profile here, all of that got included in the session variable. And so user.displayname, user load data came from, use loader data. This grabs the user. I'm going to log this user out just to see what it has in it. My guess is it's the entire profile that came back from the Google OAuth. So it's going to be this entire object here. In the real world, we would have inserted them into the database, and then the thing that we return would be the user in our own database. So I'm really just curious right here is like what information do they have? So let me hide my screen for a second. Yeah, I can show this. So it's literally the Google OAuth information. It has my name, my email, my photo, all of that. So basically, this entire thing is in the session store. But to really, I mean, I think we did it. We implemented it. We only have 3 minutes left. But to really play around with this and to really see what's happening, what if I return an object that like only has the profile ID and display name and underscore JSON dot email. So if I return a thing that only has this stuff, my guess is that this is what's going to show up in the session data, and that should be all I get access to. So if we log out, log back in, and Mihai, welcome in, and hello. Bank account, PIN number, social security number. Why is there a redirect URI mismatch? We fixed that. Oh, Mihai? Mihai is my friend. Yeah, Mihai's been helping out today. Okay, I guess I just had to restart the app. Here, we're here, and then the thing that gets logged is specifically what I set there. Nice. Nice. Good to know. So ultimately, this is where all of our custom code would go that gets the info we need, puts it in our database, and then like returns that specific user. But ultimately, this information here is what shows up in the session cookie. That's awesome. All right, we did it. We did it, and with 1 minute to spare, we implemented Google OAuth. Now, of course, like I just copy and pasted a bunch of code. Ultimately, what I was saying is like this is really where our custom code is going to go that like puts it into the database. But it is cool to see that we have basically like a thing that sees is the user logged in, and if they're not, redirect back to the homepage, right? So if I log out and then I try to go to dashboard, it auto redirects me, and that's all handled by this authenticator from here. So that's cool. What else did we do? I mean, we copy pasted a bunch of code, but like really the type here is what I actually should specify to be this type that I'm returning. Eventually, like the type from the database. Yeah, and then we have a cookie session storage. It would be interesting to see if we can store cookies in a database or in like a Redis store or something like that, but it's good to know. I have only ID in the cookie? Well, right now I have no database. So the fact that the front end has access to my username means that they're putting all of that information into the session cookie. So like if we look at this cookie and can we get the value? Oh, that's a JSON web token if I ever did see one. Copy. Yep, something like this. So Wait, what? Why are there double quotes in here? Maybe it's not a JSON web token. It is base 64. Let's see what this is. My guess is that this is a base 64 string that is a JSON string. So if I do B to A, am I going to dox myself? Is there something in here that, or no, I want A to B. Is there something in here that I don't want to show people? Yeah, that's what I was expecting. So it's actually, there's a JSON object inside of there. And then if I JSON.parse this, that's going to give me the actual object that has the ID, the auth state, all of that good stuff. So basically, it's storing the session data as a JSON object encoded in base 64 into that signed session cookie, which is pretty cool. All right. That's it for this video. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I got it done in the time limit, so I'm pretty excited about that. If you enjoyed this, definitely follow over here on Twitch because I'm live right now. So tune in. Thank you for watching. Everyone say bye, YouTube. Bye, YouTube. Peace out, Girl Scout. So at this point, I'd save it to the database, yes. And I've only been live for 3 hours. I think we have the time to do it. I don't know if I have the motivation to do it, though. But if I scroll down, look at our stretch features. Set up Prisma, actually put this user into our database, also have a session store. That would be the next step. I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I feel like doing it right now. But if you tune in the first week of January, I will do it because we'll have to implement all of this. I mean, honest, if we choose Remix, I'm thinking we might choose Remix. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mihai Andre. Let me go to this link here too. So I could create my own. Yeah. So it's multifaceted, right? So this is the session information that is just stored in the cookie. We also would potentially want to store sessions in the database. So we would use database session storage. And then on top of that, this part here, we would put the user into the database after the login flow. Yeah. Yeah, so those of you that said I would do it in under 30 minutes, you get some points. Oh, wow. The majority of you said that I would get it going. So you knew what was up. And it was really just copy paste coding. So, yeah. Sure. I think so. Let's just look back at my original to-do list to really we'll summarize our thoughts on Remix. And then I'll go. Let's see. No, not that piece. Here. So, social auth, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 just because it requires a lot of manual work, right? So if you compare this to the setup for Next.auth is 5 lines of code and it does everything. This requires a lot of extra code, but I'm familiar enough with the OAuth flow and familiar enough with integrating libraries like this that I could get it working and I see how everything is working. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Full stack type safety for Remix, I'm also going to give this a 7 out of 10. It technically supports it, but I would like it a lot more if there was just more magic, right? I think I'm not going to get that in the React ecosystem because a lot of the React stuff, you have to manually import the things that you need. There's no auto imports or magic imports or anything like that. But if you compare how it works in Remix to how it works in Nuxt is just seamless. Create the API endpoint, call it from the front end. You instantly have types. You don't have to import or export anything. You also have type completion of your API routes. Yeah. So it's not that type safety is missing. It's just more manual than I would like. And I don't know if that's a fair way to rate it. Honestly, this rating scale is just bogus anyways, because some of these things have nothing to do with Remix. But I would say if I'm comparing it to Nuxt and also to SvelteKit, because SvelteKit has like type safety that flows through. But I would say SvelteKit is also a little bit clunky because you have to import the loader type or whatever it is. So, yeah. Can I go over how the session works with the database? You essentially delete the session details once the user logs out. Yeah, that's basically it's Sushi. When the user logs in, you insert a row into your session store that says this user is logged in. This is their user ID. They are logged in. And then when you're trying to see is this user logged in, you take their information from the session cookie and you look it up in your database. And if it doesn't exist, then the session has expired or someone is using like fake cookies or something like that. And then to log out, you just delete it from the session store. So the next time a request comes in with that cookie, if that cookie still exists for whatever reason, because it's not in the session store, you say this user isn't allowed, they're not logged in. There's other ways to do it, but that is one way of doing it. With use loader data, I guess we didn't see that in the tutorial then, right? Because in the tutorial, we had to define our loader, and then we said use loader data with type of loader. The type of loader piece is the piece that I didn't like. Well, not that I didn't like, that just feels more manual. That's all I'm saying. Right? Let me just show it to show you what I'm talking about. And Remix feels like Rails and PHP. It's based on standards. There's no unnecessary and biased abstraction. Yeah, I would say. I mean, there is a lot of magic in Rails, from my experience, but most stuff is like standardized and the same throughout with every project that you would go to. There's always a trade-off between how much magic and how much handmade. I agree with that. And it's really in the past couple of days, it's me just like finding the sweet spot or like seeing what's out there and seeing what I like about how much magic there is versus not. Yeah. That's pretty cool, Fob. So it reminds you that, hey, connect to your VPN so that you can do the Twitch stuff. Yeah. 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 And like, I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm saying it's more work than Nuxt. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's bad. But I guess the example here was like with posts, like the fact that I have to do use loader data with type of loader. I want a hook that honestly, like, I mean, like, because I can do whatever I want. Wait, is there something special about exporting this as a loader, though? So, like, by exporting, because I see that it's a named export, by exporting it as the name loader, it seems like it can, that's where some magic kicks in, where, like, it can choose to server render this or, like, make an API request for it or something like that. Because what I was thinking is, what if we take this and pull it into here, and that way we just import the hook that we need? Like, we just import use post data. But I think it needs this named export loader. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the other thing to consider, right? So, like, in this case, there's no automatic generation of files and automatic generation of types. With Nuxt, there's automatic generation happening a ton. So, if you have a slow editor or like a slow computer, it could be a second before all of those types kick in. In this case, you're importing every single thing that you need. So, yeah. Loaders are logically bound to pages. Okay. Cool. Cool. Great. What were we going to do? Yeah, unrelated to anything else we've done today, we're just going to set up Daisy UI inside of this Remix app. And I guess we'll do it in the basic one that we have Google OAuth for. It should be really simple. Well, actually, we're also going to show setting up Tailwind in the Remix app, because the one that we generated that had all of the stuff built into it, or came with all of the extra stuff already had Tailwind set up. So it will be interesting to see how easy is it to get Tailwind up and going in a Remix app that doesn't already have it set up. Okay. Let's talk about it. Do you have mutation? Yeah, and I think that's another thing is, like, I have not explored how these frameworks themselves actually work. We're really just exploring the ecosystem. In talking about how it loads data or how it does, like, it magically keeps your UI in sync and stuff like that, like, I have not explored any of that. All right, do they have anything about Tailwind in their docs? They do, and they literally tell me how to set it up. Okay, let's follow it. Wait, why do I need npm run all? Because it generates the CSS. Oh. Okay. We're going to install those two things. We're going to init Tailwind, which should generate our Tailwind config. And then we need to update our Tailwind config to load the right files. Cool. We need to update our scripts. Build, dev, and start. Import the generated CSS file into your app. So this goes in root. Thanks for that strange airplane. Okay. We need links function as a type from Remix node. So because we export this, that style sheet is going to be added to the pages that get loaded. If I want to create a CSS file, I can. I don't think I'll do that for now. Because we should be good. At this point, we have Tailwind. Let's try using it in our index route. I guess we can start exploring Remix a little bit now. Like, is there a concept of layouts? Because I guess technically this is our layout, right? Our app is our layout. But I guess with nested routes, that would be the layout, the layout would be like the parent component. So really what I want is just like a main element here that wraps the outlet and everything else. And then I can give this some Tailwind classes. Like that. If you have a folder called posts, the parent layout is a file called posts outside of the folder. Yeah, so I think would this make sense? Like would this setup make sense? Basically, all of these things get loaded into this layout, I guess. But really, I could have like nested layouts. This would just be, and I guess also if I wanted a nav bar, I would like put it here, something like that. Let's see. Tailwind is loaded. But oh yeah, it's working. It's working. I forget what class we used to do this, right? Do we do like width? Extra large? 3? Something like that. Even less. Yeah, cool. So Tailwind is loaded. Let's add Daisy UI. It should be pretty easy. We literally just install Daisy UI and then add it to the Tailwind config. Oh, not that. Not that. That. Cool. And then we get the dark theme. That's nice. If we go to themes, we could choose our theme. And let's say we want the... Let's look. I want the forest theme. And then in our root, give this the theme of forest. Cool. And then let's add a navbar. Like this. That's cool. Though it looks much darker than I thought. Oh, I guess if we go to the forest theme, we can see how it's actually going to look. I want that one. We just change it to background primary. Cool. And then we'll just add a button because we like our buttons. So let's get a nice outlined primary button in here. Is the JSX tab better suited to my use cases? Yeah, you're probably right. I didn't even see that. Yeah, because then I can just copy class name. You're totally right. Actually, I think I want button danger, and then I just want this to be a login like this. Like that. Well, I guess technically I could update logout too, but now I have login. Log in with Google. Oh, well, I'm not even going to style this anymore. Just like we saw that like it was easy enough to add, and then we can go through the Daisy UI docs if we want to add more components and stuff like that. Okay, I think I'm done for today. I mentioned it earlier, but the stream from yesterday where I tried Nuxt, that'll be over on the archive channel tonight. So check that out. The one where I tried Svelte is already on the archive channel if you feel like watching that. And then this Friday, we're going to try Next.js. So that will be fun. We saved the best for last, or I honestly don't know yet. I mean, I've used Next.js before. It was a smaller app. I didn't have social auth. There's a lot of things that I haven't done with Next.js that we're going to be trying out on Friday. So that's the plan. Yeah, thank you, Mendoza. Thank you for hanging out. Lots of new people today as well. There are a lot of first time chatters. Wait, not that. That. A lot of first time chatters. I appreciate you all for hanging out. I think we got a lot of follows today too. So I appreciate you all for the follows. Look at all those follows. That's crazy. I didn't get follow botted, did we? I think you all just found me, and I appreciate it. There'll be some interesting opinions. Yeah, I think like my overall opinion of Remix is like I really like that they have a built-in way of generating an app that does all the things that you need to do. Yeah, let's check the tweet, and I'll also mention this for you also. DH, Midu, Schiffman, the Primogen. I should follow myself. West Boss. Can't see Dodds. Matt Pocock. Like, the thing is, I'm gonna follow all of these people. It's really just a matter of like who's gonna be the first person that I follow. Who's usually better paid, specialized front end dev or full stack dev? It really depends on the company that you're working at. Because I mean, you can be a senior React developer, so like you're specialized in React, you're really only doing front end, and get paid a lot of money. So you could also be a full stack dev that's doing front end and back end and database and stuff like that, and get paid a lot of money. So I think it varies. But if you have an opinion on who should be my first follow, definitely go check out that tweet. And I think that's it for today. Join the mailing list. I send out go live notifications if you want to be notified when I go live. Maza Brazer, thank you very much for that tier 1. Welcome in, appreciate you. Follow on YouTube, follow on Twitter, and look at that tweet. We have a Discord. We have a help forum. If you asked a question today and it didn't get answered, if you join the Discord, happy to try and answer your questions. All right, that's it. Let's go on a raid. If you are a sub, use this raid message. If you're not a sub, use this raid message. Also, come up with your own raid message. And I think that's all. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.